Hi, I'm Michelle Begay with a look at what's happening in Latin America now. But first, our news trivia. What country in Latin America recently decriminalized abortion? We'll have the answer later. Hundreds of Latin American citizens who were living in the Ukraine fled the country due to the conflict with Russia. Peru, Mexico, and Brazil sent military planes to bring back their citizens. Argentina is planning to send a plane with peacekeepers to help the refugees in Poland. Over 2,400 Latin Americans were living in the Ukraine before the conflict. More than half of them were born in Ecuador, Brazil, Peru, and Mexico. The majority are college students who were living in Ukraine's capital, Kyiv. Some refugees said they waited up to 60 hours in long lines before crossing into neighboring Poland. A Colombian coal mine explosion over the weekend left more than a dozen miners dead. According to the state-run mining agency, the accident of the Chapa underground coal mine was caused by an accumulation of methane gas. A team of 40 rescuers were involved in the search mission for 4 miners who are still missing. And now let's go to my colleague in Argentina, Joel Richards. He covered the country's legislative sessions for 2022 during this crucial year of Argentina's economy.
This Tuesday, Alberto Fernandez made his annual address to Congress, his third address as president in a term of office so far shaped by the pandemic and now conflict in Ukraine, but also by his country's economic situation. For Argentina, 2022 will largely be defined by an agreement with the International Monetary Fund. The country has a $44 billion debt with the IMF, taken under the Mauricio Macri presidency. It's a debt the country simply cannot repay. This week, Fernandez said there is an agreement to restructure that debt, and which does not include austerity measures. It's also an agreement that needs congressional approval, and this is where it gets complicated. The Peronists do not have majority in Congress. And then on Tuesday, a large section of the political opposition stood up and left in protest when Fernandez mentioned the legal investigation into the $44 billion debt. But also within the coalition there's tension. Influential lawmaker Maximo Kirchner, son of former presidents Nestor and Cristina Kirchner, did not attend. He's against any deal with the IMF. So while Fernandez cut an optimistic figure during his address, anticipating further economic growth, uniting Congress to approve the deal with the IMF remains his challenge.
Many carnivals have returned to Latin America after a long hiatus during the pandemic, but not all celebrations are the same. Check out these images of a Bolivian ceremony by miners to honor El Tío, the uncle. He's the god of mines in Bolivian folklore. They actually sacrifice these white llamas to appease the lord of the underworld. Their belief is the offering will protect them from mining accidents and give them an abundant year in unearthing the metals they extract from the mines. The ritual is performed by an indigenous witch doctor and considered a blessing. Now let's take a look at what stories we're following for next week. First, in Chile, President Sebastián Piñera will live through the last week of his presidency. His administration finishes with a low approval rating as it falls to 21%, according to a recent poll. Sources close to the president have said he will not go back to the business world, but he may possibly dabble in some new ventures, such as starting a center for political studies or speaking abroad. The polls also indicate high expectations for incoming President Gabriel Boric. 47% of Chileans believe the country will do well or very well under his leadership. And second, we continue to follow migrations in our region. Mexico is deporting more and more foreigners. In 2021, there were more than 114,000 cases of deportation. That's almost a 90% increase from the year before, according to migration authorities. Experts say this is due to the growing number of people migrating from Central America and the pressure from the U.S. to control migration. The largest number of undocumented migrants in Mexico come from Honduras. And now the answer to our news trivia. The answer is C. Colombia partially decriminalized abortion on February 21st. The country's constitutional court ruled in favor of legalizing an abortion up until the 24th week of a pregnancy. Pro-choice advocates celebrated the victory. They've been fighting the abortion issue for more than 2 decades in the deeply Catholic country. In fact, days later, religious groups and citizens against abortion took to the streets to demonstrate as well. Now that's it for this week. We'll see you again soon on Latin America Now.